Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the Nicole and Sarah Show. Today, we have a very special guest, Fiona Turko. I hope I pronounced your name right. Is that correct? Yes.
Yeah, you
Okay,
got
great.
it. Yeah.
Awesome. We got it. I love it. So, I hope you guys bear with us. We're on a funny, giggly mood. So, I hope we actually pass that energy to you guys as well. It's been a long week for all of us, but it's great. Thank you for joining and spending the day with us. But today, I'm actually really excited to talk to Fiona because it's something that I've been building as well on our end in terms of building an offline activation. So we'll be talking about the physical growth loop and building offline activations for B2B creators. And to get started, I actually wanted to put the shine light on Fiona. Before that, Sarah, for people that don't know Sarah, if you want to do a quick intro as well, she's joining us. But yeah.
I'm Sarah I lead influence marketing at Wix, have been for the past few years, and happy to be here with Fiona and, of course, Nicole, my partner in crime.
Woo! And for those that don't know me, I do influencer marketing at SEMrush, but officially now an Adobe company as of yesterday,
Woohoo!
which is great news for all of us. But yeah, it's been nice to see the development of B2B in general. So over to you, Fiona. I would love for us to get started to kind of tell us your journey from Zapier to Gamma. And how did offline activations become a core part of your creator partnership strategy? But if you want to start and tell a brief intro to those that don't know you,
Yeah.
that would be great.
Yeah. I do influencer marketing at Gamma, previously Zapier. Yeah, excited to be here. Thank you both for thinking of me and for having
Of
me. It feels
course.
kind of like Friday, which is
Being
really
here.
fun. Maybe that's why we're so giggly. We work with a ton of different influencers at Gamma, and a ton of different agencies globally to help us scale. We're busy building our ambassador program for Gamma, which is really exciting, and a ton of offline events coming up.
Cool.
Nice.
Maybe we can start with why do you think, specifically from the brand side, because I know that you did that at Zapier,
Mhm.
offline activations, and now you're building it at Gamma as well. Like, what does that kind of entail? And why do you think some brands that are 100% digital, why are they missing this? And what are they missing out on not showing up, basically?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah. Um, I feel like when we did Outpost for Zapier, it was kind of like right before like all the offline in-person events took off. So we're like a little bit ahead of the curve, which was nice. But we basically brought out like a group of 20-ish creators to the middle of the desert in Zion National Park.
Love that.
um Basically like glamping essentially, to these like renovated airstreams, and like very much like disconnect from your screens, get FaceTime with your favorite brands. We had Kristen from Gamma there, we had somebody from Opus Clip, we had Zapier's CEO and leadership team there. So it was very much like a networking event. We did like a hackathon, and like roasting s'mores, and went on tour of the park. There's a little bit of everything kind of mixed into 2 days. And it was a part of a series of events. So we had like a customer event, a prospect event, and then we had one event dedicated just to creators, which was really nice. It can be hard sometimes to mix, users and or prospects with creators. And so we really wanted to do like a dedicated effort for our creator partners, both like people that we have been working with and people that we wanted to work with. And then having partners there like Gamma was obviously very strategic. It just gives more value to the creators to have, like 3 tools there that like they use versus like it all just being Zapier. And so looking back, that was pretty strategic and smart that we did that. And yeah, it was a ton of fun, even though it rained the entire time.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Learned a ton about like international travel, getting people. We had people from Japan, all over North America, Europe come out
Wow.
to basically the middle of nowhere for just a couple days to spend with us. So yeah, I learned a ton from that event that we then, when I went to Gamma, we just did our world tour. Very different scale, 3 continents in like 12 days, user events, parties, creator events. And yeah, learned a ton from that
Wow.
experience. Yeah, it was
I,
crazy.
I remember, Fiona, when you were at Zapier and that event took place, like it was all over my feed. I swear. I don't know
By
if that was
design.
paid, organic, but whatever it was really effective. I think there was a really cool like buzz around it, and obviously the creators posting themselves, the Zapier posting, them commenting on each other on Zapier. It was like, wow, that looked fun.
Yeah.
I have a question here. So when you were planning the whole event, so it was a weekend, correct?
Yeah, it
And
was 2.5, 3 days.
okay, so but each day was dedicated for a specific audience, or you kind of blended everybody together? Because I find it interesting if you built kind of the C-level suite customers and the influencers all in one location, or you kind of catered the experience for each of them separately. How did you?
Oh, entirely separate, like in different months.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
so like one activation was in like the Catskills. The creator activation was at Zion. We had another one in California.
Wow.
So very strategic locations based on who our attendees were going to be, and also who from the Zapier team was going to be there. Zapier had like an amazing events team internally. We also had a great agency support, and like months and months of planning for that type of event, bringing people in from all over the world. To kind of these like remote locations. The more remote the location, the more difficult it is for transportation, flights, booking flights, how do you get people there? And yeah, especially like doing it, like if you're doing it during a work week, people have other commitments. The whole idea, like they get off their phone, they get off their computer, and they're getting that FaceTime. And so you do have to make sure that the programming is like exceptional for them to, you know, hold their attention for that long.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also did an influencer weekend. We called it an influencer weekend. Well, actually, back in couple of years ago, we had an event called Summer Jam that we actually brought in like 50% are influencers, 50% are customers, and kind of blended in together. But most of our customers were influencers at that point.
Oh,
this was like what 20
That's handy.
Yeah, but it was like what 2018, 2017. So like B2B influencer marketing was not a thing in the sense. It was more like customer led. But then when we wanted to make it more brand awareness, we hosted an influencer weekend, and it was specifically just for influencer weekend. And exactly as you said, like when you're trying to build out a program, to make it interesting, is kind of you think about what is going to make them want to actually step out of their daily routine to meet and be with us. Because at this point, it feels like, maybe you guys agree or disagree with this, but we're all trying to kind of steal a piece of their time and attention to be with us, because there's so much demand across so many brands right now that it's just, how do you even build that? And how did you select those specific influencers is what I'm curious about. Because for me, it was kind of exactly you said, 50% of them were people that were really close to the brand, and I know that they're brand ambassadors at this point. And then the others, like very strategic of, I know that we can build something long-term wise. So hopefully this will help me narrow this or just start the relationship. But how did you do that? Did you work with an agency or did you in-house? How did you build that out?
No, we just like built it out internally. So like similar to what you said, we probably had 70% like long-term ambassadors, folks who had just basically been like our brand champions for like years at that point. Some new creators that we had in our ambassador program, and then like a handful of creators like we really wanted to work with. We just didn't have like active partnerships with them. I think what was different though is like I like very strategically did not give them a brief. Like there was no like, oh, you must post one post per day, because I didn't want them going back to their Airstream and being like, oh, now I have to like go make this video for Zapier and it's like midnight and I just want to go to sleep because tomorrow we're doing this hackathon. Like I purposely left it very open, and I feel like we got so much more content because of that. The other thing that was interesting too was that Vegas is not that far away from Zion. F1 was happening. A ton of the creators we were working with were actually in Vegas for F1, came out to Zion for us, and then went back to Vegas. And the brands that they were working with, it was like, yeah, we need a video by 11 p.m., 12 a.m. And they were like going to events all day. And so I just didn't want to put that pressure on them. Like I really wanted them to just like de-stress, enjoy, connect with their peers, connect with Zapier, make memories. And so that was like the one piece of feedback where it was like, they were just like so relieved there was no brief. Just like enjoy yourself, make the content you feel like. And we made so much fun content. One of the creators there, Abney, made a really funny Taylor Swift TikTok with our CEO Wade at the time. And yeah, it was really fun. And so that I think kind of set it apart from other brand events where it's like you have a very brief deliverables. I just feel like it's a lot of pressure.
It sounds like that if it's like you said, like if you are able to give them a really special experience, that would naturally encourage them to share and create content. Great. I'm wondering, like in situations where it's not so special, or it's something more like more simple, like if you're inviting influencers to cover like a conference or something, you know, else, then maybe it is important to put that in. But I agree with you, like in either way, it's so important to think about their experience. when they're there, and it really needs to be tailored. Like it really needs to be seamless.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we were concerned about was exactly this, because of course the goal was for us to grab as much content as possible during the weekend.
Yeah.
And again, I 100% agree with you in this aspect that the more you force them to do something, and also the audience, their audience feels like, okay, this is definitely a sponsored post.
Yeah.
Or it's a forced
Of
post that
course.
they need to say, I
Yeah.
love this, blah, blah. When it's like, do you actually use it? I don't really know. Exactly. Yeah. So what we did was we did a competition. So, and whoever won that competition of number of amount of times of content that they created, they
Mm.
won a specific monetary award, and they could choose that would go to a charity. So it's
Oh,
just kind of like an emotional incentive for
Oh,
them to
that's
create
nice.
content around it. Yeah.
that's really
And we kind of put them in groups as well, and we gave them like a specific cards of prompts, and it was different ideas, kind of like okay, we're gonna go to
Nice.
somewhere in the London, and oh my gosh, I should know the name of the street, whatever. Really, Piccadilly. We went to Piccadilly and just go around
Yeah.
the street and ask people about, I don't know, search volumes of specific keywords or
Oh,
marketing
cute.
strategy. So something very just like top level and not producty related.
Yeah.
That would be
Yeah.
content that they would naturally already post on their post. Sorry, on their
On
platforms.
their channels.
So
Yeah.
exactly. So and it really worked well because they worked with each other, and it was interesting to see how, okay, you can see the people that are really good on camera and they loved being in the limelight, and others that were better like in the back end or scripting,
Yeah. Yeah.
etc., and like seeing all play out.
That's
And
very
they knew that they
cute.
had an incentive of it, so they were competing with each other but not really, and it felt more organic in that aspect.
Yeah.
And then obviously things and the props that we were given to them, it was SEMrush branded, so that just naturally like blended it in. But I think that's something really important to know, as you said, Fiona,
For
like
sure. For
don't
sure.
force them. It needs to feel natural, and to make sure that whatever activation that is being built out to, that it, in other quotation, basically it feels Instagrammably, right? Like it's so glamorous that it's like, wow, this is an
Yeah.
experience that I
Yeah.
actually want to talk about, even if I don't have to, or I'm not getting paid for it, in quotations for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like if you're an influencer marketer who's watching this, you might get pushback of like, why is there no brief when we're paying all this money? Show
Totally.
the clip. This is like the case study of like why you don't do that, or you do something
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
charity option where it's more selfless and it's like for a good cause and it rallies people together versus like a different type of competition.
So I'm sure you got a good amount of budget, because the locations that you're telling me, and especially based in US,
Yeah.
I'm sure it was great. But what if you didn't have any budget? People or companies that are wanting to do the Scrappy version of, or they don't even have an events team or a big budget to work with. What would be your advice towards that group of influencer marketers?
Yeah, you can definitely do a small scaled back version of this. It could be a dinner at a restaurant that like everybody's dying to go to. Like you get the private room, you do like a special menu. That is a very different price bracket from these type
Yeah,
of
just with
like,
less obviously a smaller number of influencers.
yeah, and like keep it small. I
Yeah.
think like, anytime you go over 20, it just becomes a different type of event. Like you want people to move around the table and chat with new faces and familiar faces, and also like have people from your team there, and just keep it very low key and private. And like if you know that there's a city where most of your creators are, like host the event in that city, bring people to your office for an experience, bring in like a catered dinner. There's so many different ways that you can do it that like don't cost six figures. I think it's just like resourceful and also like talk to your creators. Like what do they want to do? What's like a restaurant that they want to go to? What's like this new place that they have been dying to go to, but like they just haven't had time, and like figure out something that actually is like very catered to them, and like put them into the feedback process so that like when they get the invite, they're genuinely excited to go and to show up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I think
Such a like a good tip to just ask them.
Yeah, literally.
I was just gonna say that.
They would love that. Yeah. Send out surveys. If you have a creator program, you're working with the same creators, like send out a quarterly survey. Like what kind of swag do you want? What type of events do you want? Like what's an event that you went to recently that like you can't stop talking about? Like they are the ones that are getting all these invites. Like that's your best resource. So yeah, chat with them.
I think another way possibly to deal with costs is maybe to co-host with like another brand that you
A lot of brands are
Yeah.
doing. Yeah, I think like Zapier has 8,000 integrations. Like there's so many partner brands.
Yeah.
That have.
Yeah. Product partner. Yeah.
There's so many brands that like, oh, if you know, two together is more appealing than maybe one.
Totally.
Pull in more people, there's more interest, and obviously it helps the budget a lot. So yeah, if you can find the right partner who wants to do those types of events, then yeah, definitely try it.
And I would even, I would also add to this that people that probably don't even have a creator program, that it's at completely zero,
Yeah.
but they have a community or an influencer
Yeah.
that has a community. Partner up with that community
Yeah.
or that specific influencer, and just say like, hey, I will sponsor with whatever budget you need. Our brand will be involved, but it's kind of like we're just here to let you do your thing that you always do and
Yeah.
kind of grow with them, because that helps you on all aspects. Because um, granted, of course, we are spoiled enough to say that we come from great brands that are already well known. So
Yeah.
it's easy for us to just say, okay, we're pulling this up. And even then, sometimes it is hard to get them to attend. But for a brand that has just started out, it's always good to lean on the people that already built that community, and that obviously aligns with the ICP that you're trying to build, and also create a bigger community from them.
Yeah.
So that would be an additional add-on to
Yeah.
to all of that.
A lot less resources from the brand too. If you're just kind of writing them a check and say, hey, we trust you to like run with it. We'd love to see the content after. Love your feedback. Amazing. You can do a lot of those types of events if you don't have an events team or influencer marketer or like a social media manager even.
Yeah, I agree. So Fiona, I'm not sure if you had this struggle, but on my end, when we were pitching this event, the influencer weekend, it took me like a year and a half for it to get approved from C-level. Don't get me wrong. Our C-level totally believes in influencer marketing and working with people and growing with them. They're a huge supporter. Our CMO is a huge advocate for that. So is our VP. But they love numbers, obviously. They need to say,
Of course.
if we're doing this investment,
Yeah.
what the heck are we getting out of it? Like, pitch me the idea, but I need to see what I need to see. I need for it to be, we understand the qualitative, but I need the actual numbers as well. So how did you bridge that back and pitch it internally to your team when you had this idea of doing something offline?
I didn't have to do that. They were already bought in.
Oh, wow.
Series. We want to do in-person events.
Nice.
We have a very healthy budget for it. What I did have to maybe fight more for was like one of these events should be 100% creators. You just never know what you're gonna get when you're users and creators. Like I didn't want there to be two separate groups of people on this like one trip, and we were already putting so many resources into scaling up our influencer program, building out those long-term relationships. So that was maybe like a bit of back and forth, but no, like we were very bought into like doing in-person events, getting content from it. Obviously generating pipeline is always going to be like one of our KPIs. But for the creator event, it was more so like, like how do we build these relationships? How much content can we get? What's like a unique approach to this? Like maybe we're not doing it at a fancy restaurant. Maybe it's like the middle of the desert. So it really sticks out in people's feeds. And so, I think we had kind of an unconventional approach to it. And also I was very lucky. Zapier, it was a company that like very much believed in testing and experimentation. So we could take these big swings and be like, okay, this is what
that's important.
And so it felt like a safe space to like take those risks and figure out like, okay, well, if we were to do this again, what would we apply, or like what would we or wouldn't do? And so I think that's like a really healthy way to approach it.
So if
I always I just wanted to add, Nicole, because you mentioned, Fiona, like mixing the thought of mixing users and influencers. I always think that's quite interesting. Like if that ever happens at an event, usually when they're mixing together, it's always very interesting to look from the side and see if our users recognize the influencer. You know, because like for us, it's like a celebrity has just walked in the room. But that's because that's our day to day. But then I've been in situations where I'm next to a user and they're like, who is that?
100%.
So it's really interesting to see.
Like for for the programming piece, for me, like that's the part that I always come back to, is like if I really want people to be off their phones, like creators obviously are on their devices, that's their job. How do we make it so that the programming is like so specific and so tailored to them? Like for a viewer event, I feel like the programming would be different. Like there's a different way to approach that. For sure. And so like if we're trying to make the most of our budget, we're taking this big bet, this risk, like I would rather have like one group per event where we like know them inside out and we have somebody on like the brand side who has worked with those people before, where we can like craft the programming, all the like sidecar events, all the dinners, the seating chart too. Like, how do you figure out a seating chart for a user and influencer event versus like, okay, like we separate them, it's much easier. But yeah, I'd love to do more where like we mix like users, creators, prospects all in one, and then see how it goes. I think that would be really interesting.
I mean, for when we did our what we used to call it summer jam, it was exactly that, like 50-50. And it actually worked really well because, again, the experience itself was very glamorous. So for the influencers, it was like, yeah, I'm kind of already used to this. But for the users or our power users, they were kind of like, wow, look me, I have power like a celebrity treatment. So they felt like even more connected to the brand.
Yeah.
And then when they talked to one another, it just felt kind of like, oh wow, you knew this about this, and they actually learn from the power users as well, and they help them amplify like the content that they're creating about, or just diving deeper into the product, et cetera, et cetera. So it was a kind of like great balance of aspect of it in general.
Yeah, I love that.
If I would be able, but I'm gonna go back to the point of like how your team was so bought in without even thinking about it, because I'm actually curious about this. If I could pick your C-levels brains, what for them do they see this as that it's a no-brainer? How much value do they, why do they see it as a valuable thing in general?
I think for any type of like tech AI company, the space is just so competitive. We're all trying to cut through the noise. I was talking about this before we rolled. It's like everybody's a competitor now. Like, kind of crazy. And if you want to stand out, you have to do something different. You have to take those big swings. You have to take those risks. Like doing fun dinner is like not really enough anymore. And we know that everything is turning into content. So how do we think outside the box and like find the right agencies to work with that can help us like execute these, kind of bigger events where like there's travel involved. But yeah, I think it's just about like the competitive nature of the space right now. It's like everybody's kind of doing the same thing. How do we do something different? And then, there's definitely companies that are willing to invest resources into testing different things and seeing what works with them. And I think Zapier Outpost is like a series now. They're doing it again this year, and so
cool.
That's awesome.
When it comes to Gamma, I remember listening to your CEO on Lenny's podcast a few months ago, and I remember him saying how much it was so refreshing to hear from a CEO, like how much he values influencers and content creators, and how it was like the first marketing he did on his own with these influencers. I was like, oh my God, it's amazing.
Interesting.
So rare. That was a big reason why I came to Gamma. It's like spent so much of my career trying to prove out that this is like a viable performance channel. This also overlaps with community and product. Like the influencer is just so valuable. And so to go to a new wave AI company that deeply understands the value of creators to the point where it's like, just, okay, here's the budget, go run with it. It's just like so rare and so refreshing. And he literally used to do the invoicing, the negotiations, the content on top of building Gamma at the same time. Like, it's just like,
I was in shock. So I remember listening, thinking, wow.
Was that one of his biggest like growth channels strategies, I assume, then from beginning?
That's what he was saying.
Oh, interesting.
You should link his podcast after. It's really good.
Yeah, definitely. Like, oh wow, that's great.
It's a good episode.
If you have that baseline, of course it's gonna be easy for you to be like, all right, let's run. No, but it's you guys are a great example. If obviously it works, Gamma is known everywhere. Like everybody knows Gamma. So it actually works. And this is a great example as a brand to say like, hey, we started at zero, we amplified, we grew. What are you guys? You guys are global now, right? I don't know how many power users do you guys have? Do you know
a lot? Well, 80% of our paying users are outside North America. That's actually why we did the world tour.
That's great.
Go to the countries, bring Grant, our CEO, to meet our users, chat with creators, and like be on the ground in these markets. Which again is like so weird for a US based AI company, but we're so global and like we always have been. So for us, it was like showing up in these markets and actually getting boots on the ground and meeting with people and chatting with them. And the world tour was like Kristen's, our head of marketing, idea, and Grant was like, let's do it. So very open to like testing new things, and that's like for me like a really unique type of like offline event that just like generates so much content and chatter online.
So when you were measuring KPIs, I mean, I'm sure when you guys were starting out, Gamma it was probably just product usage for free, etc. But now, as the program has grown, especially with offline activations, what are your KPIs? You've mentioned social posts a lot, but is there anything else specific afterwards? I know you mentioned also like potential users afterwards, but
Yeah.
what is that pipeline strategy that you guys kind of lay out?
Yeah, we're always looking at like impressions, reach,
Okay.
like engagement rate, also, you know, signups. Like we are still conversion focused, like any other tech company.
Mhm.
But like I'm also looking at like comment quality, comment sentiment. Like what
Yeah,
are the
yeah.
discussions happening in the comments? Are people being like, oh, like actually I should try Gamba? Like that's the exact pain point or use case that I have. Like if we can change people's behaviors and kind of feelings towards presentations to be more positive, I think that's like what I'm always like digging through the comments looking for and like screenshotting and putting it to on my desktop. I'm like, this is happening in real time. But yeah, full funnel and definitely like content generation and overall like content quality.
Which platforms are most important to you, Fiona?
Ooh, I personally really am focused on LinkedIn in terms of like that professional user, that salesperson, that marketer who's making presentations day in and day out. LinkedIn, I still think that there's so much opportunity. There's so many creators on there who are making great content.
Of course.
YouTube for sure. Like I'm a very visual person. I think like Gamma's a very visual tool. You kind of do need to see it in action.
Of course, yeah.
Instagram Reels. We do a little bit on TikTok, but those are kind of like the main three right now.
Nice.
And to scout comments, do you use one specifically?
No, I literally do it manually. If there's a post that like did really well, I'm like reading the thing with the comments now, especially on LinkedIn, is there's so many that are AI generated. And I feel like you kind of have to train yourself to be like, okay, this is AI or this is real. And so I do manually go through them. Like when that post pops off, I do want to see like, is there an actual discussion happening? Like I want to see like a thread of replies, or is it just like one-off, you know, AI generated posts or comments that all sound the same? And so I do look at those manually. I don't think that there's one tool honestly, that does a great job.
It is with Claude Code. I did this a few weeks ago. Like I gave it a CSV file of LinkedIn posts, obviously influencer posts, and I had it go, although it did take it a long time, but it did it. It went into each post and basically gave me a list of all the people that had commented, the titles, the company, and which post it was that they commented on, meaning it is with Claude Code you can do stuff like that, but it takes time because it needs to do it. It's like it's doing it through the Chrome extension, and it needs to do it like human pace. That's what it says, so that LinkedIn won't, you know.
And are you passing that list on to sales, or like what are you doing? Are you like trying to find new influencers from that list?
No,
or, like,
so in this case, I was literally testing this use case because it's something I've heard from so many people that, you know, they, especially for LinkedIn, obviously, like the need to like really understand who is engaging. Are they from our ICP or not? Like either if you need to evaluate an influencer or to evaluate, you know, the impact of a certain post. So I was just curious, like if Claude Codes can do it, and I tried, and like I said, it took time, but it did it. So yeah,
Claude Code can do anything at this point, and I love it so much. I'm like, if somebody takes it away from me, I'm losing like half of my workflow. Please do.
Okay, so listen, true story. Okay. We have like, yes, we have the enterprise account, whatever, which is wonderful. But I ran out of credits right in the middle of like this huge research I need to do. I'm waiting to get more, but there's no way I'm going to do that research. I'm going to complete that research manually. Like, I don't care. I'm just going to wait for those credits.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm waiting. Yeah. I need to give this research.
Well, you're still waiting.
Oh yeah.
And when you're waiting for a report, sorry, I still don't have credits yet. I need to push back the deadline dates.
I swear, I said
it's
that
valid.
in a meeting today.
Really?
I was like, you'll get it next week. After the 1st of May. I swear. It's true.
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. But no, yeah, I mean, I've done it manually too as well in terms of like finding the founder and locations, but it just helps me at least with reporting aspect of showing like, hey, our ICP is to influence VPs, directors, CMOs, etc. So if they're engaging in that content, then that just shows the value exactly like the
Yeah,
transaction of the pipeline.
totally.
Because if I'm just engaging with just people that are top of the funnel, it's just kind of like it's just up in the air. But if I even have like, I don't know, 10% of that audience that's hard to reach, then it's like perfect. It just shows exact number of value in general.
Yeah, it's also critical for if you're doing employee advocacy, like if your company's doing employee advocacy. So a huge percentage of engagement is usually just the employees commenting on each other. So it's also really important to know the percentage, like how many of those people engaging are actually not the employees.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
You know, it's important to look at that stuff.
It's a whole other world out there.
Yeah.
Which, talking about other worlds out there, about payments and the whole wild, wild west of paying influencers in general. You know, it's actually, I was speaking to another brand that I'm helping them with some stuff, and I was like, I know I have to ask, but are you guys paying influencers? You know, as if we're gonna work together. They're like, totally, we totally are. I was like, 10 years ago, that was not a thing.
Yeah.
And I still fathom, I'm like, how the heck were we doing this without zero budget?
Crazy.
But again, I still think that we're still scouting what is right and what is wrong, what is enough, what is not, what is value, what is not value. I mean, we have more benchmarks, baselines off of everything that we've worked with, which is great. But how did you do this with offline events, Fiona? Like, did you fly people out and paid them? Did you structure it across the different, based on different relationship status that you had, and if it's a customer or not? You don't have to talk about like price ranges, etc., because I know that's confidential stuff. But yeah, I know it's a tough one out there, especially when people talk. So that's a toughy one. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like there's so many tech brands, I mean, even now doing events. I mean, our whole philosophy was like, we'll pay for your whole trip. Like flight, like hotel, food, everything is like taken care of for you end to end. That obviously for like that type of trip is a big value add. Now, if you're just inviting people to like a local restaurant, you might have to pay, obviously, because like it's just not as exciting, and they get those invites all the time. So like I find the more unique your invite is, the more valuable it is to them, the better it makes their content. Also, like, again, back to the programming, who's speaking, who are they going to network with? The number one thing I actually found when we were doing the invites for that event at Zapier was creators asking who else will be there, to get an understanding of the caliber of creator. Is there somebody there that they've been like dying to meet? That's really valuable to them, because so much of the work they do is like this in an office at home alone. Like that is their day in, day out. They don't actually get many opportunities to co-work with other creators, to meet other creators. And so if they have a couple events per year, that's kind of it. And so yeah, making that experience like really special for them. And again, going back to curating that list of creators is really important so that they get the most value out of it. And obviously, like, you should offer to pay for if you're inviting them on a trip, pay for the whole trip.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. But great point that you just made about that we're asking about confidential, like who will also be attending.
Yeah.
I was a bit hesitant about that at first because I didn't want to share confidentially enough, like, hey, this person's also joining. But granted, we just asked and said, like, hey, people are asking, like, are you guys comfortable with that? Yeah, all good. But 2 or 3 people out of that attended the offline influencer weekend, they became business partners. And they launched a podcast. Yeah.
Yes.
You as well. Okay. And then they started a podcast afterwards.
Yes.
And I was like, wow, I did not expect, or 2 of them are also best friends, and they started like working on things together. I was like, wow, this is great. So it really makes such a big difference to understand like that curation of values of what each one can offer, and just it being kind of like a balanced deal. It helps so much. And we got a lot of confirmations because one person was wanting to talk to this person, so they were like, oh, perfect, this is the time and place for me to talk to them, so this works out great. So we're just like great at playing Tetris in a sense. I mean, I really think influencer marketers are Tetris masters. That's
we are
genuinely I think that's a skill that we have. So that's interesting. What business or what happened afterwards? I'm curious.
Well, one of our creators met another creator, and it just turned into like this like 6-figure business deal. It's like, oh, I know this person who's looking for this, service that you offer. Let me connect you. And it like turns into like actual business for them, just because they spoke to this one person at an event who knew somebody in their network who like they would have never known otherwise. And so it actually supported their business. So like it was just, and like a 6-figure deal is insane from just like
that's really cool.
Paid brand trip. You get to network, and then like people were doing podcast shows after, people were like meeting up in cities after, and like sending, like we have a WhatsApp chat still from that, people sending like family pics and like people hanging out together from the trip. And it's like, oh, like all these people still know each other and
that's
talk.
so
like,
nice.
That's really special, is that they went peace and like didn't ever see each other ever again. So that's like when you know that you've built like a good group of people, and like if you wanted to replicate that event, you could like bring that same group back, expand on it, like and take from that. But yeah, I was blown away when he was like, yeah, it's a six-figure business deal. I was like, oh,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's so important to do those connections before the event. So to make sure everyone knows who's coming, they're 100%. Already connected, you're warming them up, like there's a WhatsApp group. A WhatsApp group, so they don't just meet on day one.
Yeah, we definitely, I think we did that. I think we did like a WhatsApp group or a Slack group, or we gave out everybody's LinkedIn's. I can't remember what specifically, but it was like, here's who you're meeting, here's their LinkedIn's, here's like, if you want to chat with them before. Actually, I think we built a website that had like their profiles and a way for people to chat like, on the closed like private website. And then it had all the event details. So they had kind of like a one-stop shop for like networking post event, the agenda, all of that stuff on like one website that we created specifically for just like the Zion event. Like photos from the event went on there, and so it was like very again, like elevated the entire experience.
That's nice.
Yeah,
I think another big challenge is when you start, like you build your reach out list, you start reaching out, but you don't, I mean, you're always going to reach out to more than the spaces you have.
100%.
But you also want to fill in those spaces with the best people from the list and not like the smaller ones, which is true also for campaigns, but I think even more for events. So it's also very, I mean, talk about Tetris. It's like, it's really delicate because you want to, but then you don't have time to just send out one invite at a time, wait till they confirm, then move on to the next one. Like there's never time for that. It's very tricky. Like, Fiona, did you have any issues with those kind of things, that maybe you accepted someone and then wish you gave that place to someone else?
No. Like I was very strategic on like what that mix looked like. I purposely was like very intentional that some smaller creators would be there so that they could learn from creators that like they look up to. Like that's the value add for them.
For sure.
And who are like they're specialists in like a certain area, or they're like they know so much about Zapier that maybe for a bigger creator who's just starting out with it can learn a lot from them. So I did like a lot of like matching. Like we also did this thing before the event where it's like, okay, you so and so should talk to you because you guys have this in common, or you know this mutual person, or like we would like dig into their socials and find
that's really nice
match make. So we put a lot of effort into that. But no, I feel like that original list, I was very careful. Again, like you have to add so many more people to that list. People are traveling, people are having babies, they're working, it's a conference. Like you might be like, oh, so-and-so can't attend because they're going to be in a different country. Like that's fine. These things happen. Have like a big list to pull from. And then I think if you've worked with those people before, they're like advocates for you, ambassadors, you kind of know who you want to be there and also meet in person if it's the first event. And so no, that wasn't an issue. I was just like, we also had many months to plan. Like this was not like a rushed thing. If it's rushed, I can totally see.
Nice.
You definitely don't want to ever rush guest lists, seating plans. Like when you're investing that level into that type of event where there's like serious travel involved, people are taking time away from their businesses, their families. You want to be very intentional about who you're bringing together, both from your brand and the guest list. And so that's one of my big recommendations is like take time to sit down with that list and also do the matchmaking as early as possible so that people have somebody like to connect with organically when they're there, and it doesn't just feel like a bunch of like influencers who've never known each other. You know what I mean? Like you want people to gel.
Yeah. It's crazy how much thought is put behind these events.
Months and months of work. It's a lot. Yeah.
I was just gonna ask, how far in advance did you plan?
Like many months. I want to say like 4 or 5 months. Okay. Obviously things are pretty light in the beginning.
That's not that many.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought you were gonna say like 6 months to a year. I was like, Oh, girl,
You
you
know,
have so
Yeah.
much time.
had for the
That's not that
gambling.
many.
But in this industry, that is a lot. So
I get
granted.
it. I get it.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Months. But the other thing too is we had an in-house events team, like
Oh,
multiple
great.
people focused
Okay.
on the multiple events. We had an external agency helping with logistics, programming, travel.
So you had
And
all
then
hands on
my
deck.
piece was like the influencer piece. So like my actual like scope was very narrow for like the guest list and the program, like what would the influencers like and all of
Mm.
that versus like Gamma's World Tour, like we don't have an events person. Like we all were wearing many hats. We got to learn so much. We had an amazing external agency who helped us with all 3 cities. And that came together like very, very quickly. Yeah.
That's
So very
great.
different timelines.
Very different.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. When we were planning Spotlight, it's our conference that we have for the first year. I think we had like 6 months, and I was like, "Oh, we'll manage." Well, midway through, we didn't. I was like, "Guys, it's summertime, and in Europe, people really just go out for summer. They're like, bye
Yeah,
bye,
they're offline.
see
Yeah.
you June, July, August." I was like, that cuts us down for 3 months. I was like, "Oh, we want like 50 plus speakers. Okay, we'll manage." It's crazy because people, yeah, I feel like sometimes people really don't think the fact that creators, this is not, for some, gratefully so, it's their full-time job. For others, they have a full-time job
Or
Of
many.
course.
and or many other projects,
Yeah.
and they also are launching their own things. And it's not just because like, oh, just we're a cool brand and it's cool activation. It's not enough anymore.
No, it's not
you
enough.
know
Yeah.
Even some people I know that are invited to like big events like Cannes or whatever, we can exaggerate, say the Met Gala, but they're easy enough to be like, hey, look, actually no, I need to prioritize on building my own business right now. So,
Of course.
and I've gotten
of
that
course.
message so many times. I'm like, all respects to you, I totally get it, but can't just assume like, oh, just because we have a good relationship or they're a good influencer and
Yeah.
we match
Yeah.
all the match aspects, like it's just going to be a one-off. Like absolutely not.
Yeah.
Expect the worst and plan for the best, I guess.
Yeah.
In all directions.
Great tip.
Cool. And okay, we talked also about the creator brief aspect, that you basically had no revision in that aspect. But what was the communication like with influencers when you were inviting you? Just like, hey, would love for you to come for the experience. We are expecting nothing and just kind of have a good time.
I don't think I led with that. The people that I invited, I would meet with like quite regularly, like over a Zoom call. Like when I build like an ambassador program from scratch, these are like people I'm connecting with like quite regularly. I can text them, I can WhatsApp them. We have like regular Zoom calls. Those are all like long-term relationships like I'm very invested in. And so for most of them, I'd be like, hey, want to hop on a call? Like we have this thing coming up, would like love to gauge your interest. Highly recommend versus a random email to these people. Make it more special. That way they can ask questions. You can give thoughtful answers. But yeah, it was very much like, we're doing this brand trip. Like, there's all these brands that are doing, like consumer brands like Poppy and Tarte who are doing like, these like big beauty trips. Why can't tech do like a fun brand trip too? And so yeah, it just like went off really well, and the response is really warm. And actually, nobody asked for a brief until like the week before the event.
Oh,
Which is really
really?
interesting.
Oh,
And I was
yeah?
like, we don't have one. And they were like, what? I'm like, no, we just like want you to enjoy, have fun, meet people, whatever you want to make. And they were all just like, are you sure? Happened was, when we got there and I started, meeting people face to face, they were like, I want to go above and beyond for you. What piece of content or how many pieces of content would like make you look really good? And again, same response, have a good time, enjoy yourself, make whatever you feel like. If you don't feel like making content, that's fine. Like, that's fine. And so that, I think
That's nice to just state, like, to just say that.
Yes. Yeah. Cause so
That's
many
nice.
brands are like, oh, if you can make 50 videos in 2 minutes,
That would be
like,
great.
yeah.
But
So
send
yeah,
them
don't
to me for
enjoy this
approval
that you're
first.
on. Yeah. So yeah, it depends on like the intention of like what you're trying to do. If you are really aggressively trying to hit, 100 pieces of content, then like, yeah, you probably have to be a little bit more prescriptive. But I wanted us to try this format first for the test and then see where we landed. And then if you do it again, okay, maybe you do have like a light brief. But yeah, I for those types of things, I don't like to be too prescriptive. They're used to getting briefings every day. Like, try something different.
Yeah,
so you had the
sure.
0 content approval processes on there.
No, nobody's telling me anything, but like literally there was so much content going live in the moment. Also, big benefit to no brief. Content going live in the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it, the amount of content that we got, the quality, and like the speed of it going, like we were still in the trip when all this content was going live. Then we got recaps. Then we got mentioned in
That's
podcasts.
so nice.
And then we got mentioned in like wrap ups for the year of like best brand trip, Zapier, and then they would show a picture. Like it went on for months and months, and people are still talking about it. And like we had no brief. So I think, yeah, I don't really think you need a brief.
That's crazy.
What your goals are.
That's nice. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
talking about it now.
Yeah, there you go.
We're still talking about it
Yeah,
now.
there you go.
Yeah.
Still
I don't
talking.
know.
Yeah, the amount of DMs I got from people at like some of the world's biggest tech companies being like, "How did you guys do this?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" They were like, "No, like how did you guys like logistically do this?" And I was like, "Well, I'm happy to like tell you like how we did it." It was like so shocking to me of like, you guys are like one of the biggest tech brands in the entire world, and you don't know how to do this. Like you don't even know where to start. That blew me away.
Wow.
Like, okay, this is maybe more grassroots community based than maybe I even think of it in terms like when I'm doing like all my influencer stuff. But yeah, to like some bigger brands, it just was like a big like eye-opening moment for them of like, oh, like other brands are doing this and we're not. Like, how do we do this very quickly?
Yeah.
When I was pitching this idea as well, I think it had not been happening at all. And I was like, why is it so obvious for us as influencer marketers to be like, duh, if consumer brands are doing it, why are we not as tech brands
we're
doing
so
it? You know, it was just like, it was like a no-brainer, you know? And
Yeah.
people saw it afterwards kind of as an, oh, duh, how did we not think of that? Like, we are also part of space so people are working with people, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's a huge thing with tech brands that we just forget that at the end of the day, our consumers are people. Like,
Yeah,
we
could
are
be cool too.
marketing to exactly. We are marketing to people, and even then, at
For
least
sure.
like our biggest thing, because we're marketing to marketers. I'm sure you have a huge audience aspect as well for you guys. That a lot of them are marketers, a user
Yep.
base,
Yep.
and yeah, we have to be even cooler because the marketers need to be marketed. So it's like, hello, you need to be, more creative. It's not just
true.
any consumer brand, any consumer in general. So yeah, it makes things a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, I kind of feel that way about like, I don't know if you guys saw all the content coming out from Coachella, like obviously like a lot of consumer, food and beverage, beauty brands. I'm really curious like, next year if there'll be more like wearable tech or just like tech brands there that are more consumer friendly showing up and having like big activations at Coachella. So that's something
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. And if quick, I guess because we have 10 minutes, we'll do like quick question, rapid fire ones. But if you would give advice to a brand that is doing the very first online creator activation, what are 3 things that you tell them that they have to get absolutely right? I think I want to assume that the first thing you're going to say is to make sure that you work on your influencer roster properly.
Yeah.
But what are the other 2?
Pay the creators, obviously. That still comes up sadly. I know, like if they're building their first kind of online event or like campaign with creators, my advice is always like figure out who your biggest advocates are. With somebody in your community probably has a LinkedIn presence or some kind of social following. Like put a list together of your top advocates, even if it's like 5 people, and start there. And then find the next 5 people and then the next 10 people and figure out what works. And when something works, find a lookalike of that. Like where can you double down and like find more success? Obviously pay the creators a fair rate, give them a solid brief. If you have a visual tool or a more technical tool, hop on a call and demo for them.
For sure.
Even if they're using your tool for any new product, we do this all the time in our briefs. Like you need to include a Loom video. It's even better if you can do it live with a group of them so they can ask questions in real time, and really treat them like these are your biggest advocates. These are people who are already paying to use your tool in most cases. Give them like that white glove VIP treatment, and you'll just get such better content and a longer term relationship from that.
It's crazy how far one call can go.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yes.
It's like
honestly, and also just like that in-person conversations. I'm at a conference this week and it's conversations with influencers that has been going back and forth over email for I can tell you months. And I'm right in front of them. I'm like,
I believe you.
Let's do this. And they're like, oh yeah, let's do that. I'm like,
done.
Okay. In 1 minute. I'm like, wow, if only we could always just do that. Like, it's crazy, because I get it. There's a bunch of emails happening and there's a bunch of LinkedIn DMs happening. I'm sure all of our threads. Now WhatsApp, it's also another thing. I'm like, my
Yeah.
WhatsApp is also bombarded. So it's like, and every open message is like a to do afterwards, that
Yeah.
it's so great to just sit in person, or as you said, quick,
Yep.
like rapid fire.
Yeah.
I know people are against it, like, hey, can you jump on a quick chat? But I'm a huge like, hey, let's jump on a quick chat, because it's just gonna
For
avoid.
sure. For
I
sure.
think because we're
Also,
working with people and
yeah.
calendars and whatever, that it's so much easier to
Yeah.
wipe that out than not.
I think also for tech brands, like for product-led brands, I have found that influencers really they really get excited to get on a call with someone from product, like with a PM or
Yeah.
with the head of product, and to have them present demo to them and to actually listen to the influencers' feedback and have like a professional conversation about the it's like, wow, it goes also a very long way.
That's a good one. Fiona, did you
It's
guys do
really good.
that at offline events? Like, have a product manager go over?
For Zapier Outpost, 100%. Like we had people like from the Zapier team there who were like totally open to hearing feedback.
It's so
Cool.
important to have
So
them on
important.
board.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And like I find that most like product people are interested, because like your influencers, your creators should be like your top
they
users.
should be.
Those are your power users.
Basically.
And so yeah, like they should want that feedback. Like that's like
Yeah. What's so great about influencers as opposed to users is that they know all the tools.
Mhm.
Yes, try
You
everything.
know, they know it so well. Whereas a power user who's just using your tool and hasn't maybe used others can't
Yeah.
give that perspective.
Yeah.
So it's not just a user with following. It's like an expert.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Basically.
Yeah.
Last couple of questions for you, but I know my to-do list when I was building out an event is like never ending, and it's
Oh
just
my
like an
God.
Excel sheet of like an Excel sheet nightmare.
Yeah.
But now when you do the first one, you're like, okay, I have it. I know what also got messed up. I know what I need to do before. But
Yeah.
what is detrimental that you are like, I totally effed up and I should have added this to my checklist, or that you need to look out for? Or did you even have a specific, did you go through other people? Because I also asked my event team and I was like, hey, this is what I have. Do you think we should add or remove something, etc.? Like, what should I think about? Because I feel like with events, it's like,
Yeah.
you plan for the most perfect thing, and that one thing that you didn't think about always
Yeah,
goes
the blind
wrong.
spot.
Literally, yeah.
For Zapier Outpost, I mean, there were just like some things that we couldn't control, like the rain. Like obviously when you're out in the desert,
Of course.
it's an outdoorsy event. That can like mess up some of the programming that you have planned. Like if you're doing a visit to the park or a bike ride or like whatever, that people might be looking forward to. Always have a plan B, plan C, plan D. Like if this happens, then we're doing this. If this happens, then we're going to pivot and do this, and have everything lined up. And that can get very expensive.
That's so easy to say. Oh my God.
But you have like, that's where like working with somebody who's a seasoned pro, ideally an external agency that does this day in and day out for similar brands, and bring all of that learning and say, here's what I would recommend, versus like you just trying it and then in the moment you're like, oh shit, like we didn't plan for this. So for Zapier, we were very lucky. Like we had amazing people on the team and externally who could like guide us through all of those plan A, B, C. And then also having the if you're having an external agency support you, have them on the ground during the trip. Like yes, you have your team, yes, you have the creators, have a small team, pay for their travel, have them on the ground the entire time.
Wow.
Before the first person leaves to after the last person leaves. Everything is smooth. Everybody catches their flights. Nobody is stuck. You have to see the whole trip through, and then have somebody on the brand side also there the entire time is really important.
Wow.
I think what happened to me on our end was that I was scared that people were going to get bored, and I was like, no, we need to have something for every hour of whatever, and even like had blocks of rest time and travel time and whatever time, eating time, that there was a point that I was like, all right, people are tired. Like I just overdid it. So I cut the calendar. I was like, we're all going back to the hotel. Everybody's going to sleep or does whatever they want, you know? I was like, I'm controlling their schedules too much. So I would even add to that don't forget that people need to rest in
build
between.
Chill time.
Yeah, totally.
And that can be like a relaxed dinner. That can be like, instead of going out to dinner, we're actually going to host you here It's very
Yeah.
casual. Like
Yeah.
set the expectation, and then
Totally.
after you have a couple options, or you can just go back and chill, or you might have to work. Like here's a space where you can go do that. And giving people options so that in advance they know and they can plan their own schedule based on
Yeah.
how they feel, so that they have some like input too.
Yeah, that makes sense. Is there one thing you wish someone had told you before you planned your first big offline activation?
Oh, bring the right shoes
Ah,
Ooh.
that's a good one.
when
Yeah.
you're out in the middle of nowhere. You
And
can't
then it's raining in the desert. Yeah, I can see that.
pack options.
Pack
Probably a tricky one,
options.
but like literally pack options. You never know what is going to happen. Maybe
Yeah.
there's just like random activity that the creators want to do, and so you make it happen for them. Like, I think that's a really big one. Yeah, pack
So
appropriately.
pack shoes just for you, or also for the creators?
Just for me.
Ah,
I don't have
selfishly,
pack.
just for me. Take more pictures also
Oh my
potentially.
god, take more pictures is a
Oh
huge
yes,
one.
pictures.
I feel like I
Yeah.
never took pictures
Or
during
videos.
Yeah, because like
And
you're
you enjoy it. No?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Like,
Duh.
quit
Mhm.
being so stressed.
hire a photographer, hire a videographer, hire
Yes.
somebody who has done great work. Share those photos after.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wish I had taken more photos. But it just when you're running the event, you're the face of the event for the creators. You need to be in it and not like always taking
Yeah,
content.
yeah. So, yeah.
So I have like a full folder of things that I save. But yeah, I wish I had more personal photos from. I think I have one
Yeah.
of like my trailer and one of the desert, and that's kind of it.
Oh,
Like it's like I wasn't
yeah.
even there.
I feel like that's the number one host rule that I've learned now as well, is like your goal is to host. Like you are not doing anything else.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like you can't think about production unless there's an emergency. And that's why, as you said, with like having an agency, your team off the ground, somebody has to really have to just host and talk to people, and other people to lead and take care of the logistics. And then you have another group that's taking care of content. It's like, but I what I did do is I did brief the videographer and the photographer. Like I make sure you grab this type of content.
Yes.
I want people interacting. I want people doing X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
So at the end, I had the visuals of what I wanted in case I wanted to do a recap of what was going
Yeah,
on
that's
and how that
also
looked
very
like.
important.
But yeah, even for dinners, I always bring a photographer, because granted, yes, creators will take care of taking pictures for themselves, but you want that recap. And
Yes.
selfishly
Yeah,
speaking,
you
from a
need it.
brand perspective,
Yeah.
from a brand perspective, you want to take care
Of
of that,
course.
and you want to showcase like, hey, we brought these people together, and now look at them working together off that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
It's been so lovely, Fiona. I would love to know where people can follow your work and what's coming up next at Gamma. Is there any
Yeah.
events that you're planning?
So many events. You can find me on LinkedIn. We are going to be at New York Tech Week, Boston Tech Week. I personally will be at Cannes. We have a ton of stuff coming up in Europe this summer. So if you have any questions, DM me on LinkedIn.
Fun. Are
Wow,
you doing
good
anything
luck,
in Barcelona?
Fiona.
Yeah, good
Oh,
luck.
not Barcelona. I wish.
Boo.
London, France. Yeah.
What are you guys doing at Cannes? Is it a surprise?
More to come soon.
Shouldn't
It's
open
still
up
in
that.
the planning, Nicole.
That's right. We only have 3 more
Maybe
months.
she
It's
doesn't
okay.
know.
I love that.
More to come soon. New York Tech Week. We have a bunch of stuff live. Go RSVP. We will see you there.
When is that?
The first week of June.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So you guys have a busy summer coming up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really
so
busy.
fun. Yeah.
Where can people like register? I don't know. Do you want to
New York Tech Week?
All the
like for
events
the
you guys are
events
hosting.
or?
I think I posted something on LinkedIn the other day for
Okay.
Tech Week.
So LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn. LinkedIn, basically.
Cool. But do you guys
Amazing.
have like a Luma page where all the events you
We
guys are
do. We have
hosting?
article pages for Tech Week. Yes.
Oh,
If you just go to
perfect.
New York Tech Week's website, you'll see all the events that are happening, and you can RSVP as you
Fun.
see it. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Amazing.
I do see one more question from Brianna. Hey, Bri. She asked, these events have a lot of impact, but they also come and go. What lasting results have you seen from offline events, or how can we continue to add value to the brands beyond the event?
Ooh, it's all relationship based for me. Like so many of the people that I've met from these events, like from Zapier, now I have worked with at Gamma. We've had them at our office. We've flown them out for things. Like I always think about the relationship piece and like how do you build that over time? Especially like it's a competitive market. You want to build those relationships with creators where like they feel like an extension of your team, and you can invite them to things and have them in office, test product and all of that. So yeah, definitely the relationship piece goes far beyond the actual like offline event.
I agree with that. I will die on this hill and I'll say that influencer marketing, especially in B2B, it's about long lasting relationships. And that is how your brand is only going to survive in this now crazy, everything's available for everyone world. It's true. Now everybody's building their own thing. So it's like, I don't need all these tools stack. I'm like, no, but we're friends. You do.
I know you. It's okay.
Yeah. We have a relationship.
Now. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, don't forget me.
Basically, yeah. Remember that like a couple of years ago we helped you get where you are now? Yeah. Okay.
No, literally, there's so many stories that come from those events that just would not happen otherwise, that like bond you with, like, we're all people. It's like, okay, remove the brand creator stuff. I've met so many good friends from like the offline events that I've done in my career, and so always
amazing.
That's great. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's been such a lovely 1 hour with you. Hopefully we hope another one.
Totally.
We could do next one after June. Would be interesting to see how all the events rolled out.
Yes, exactly.
Can't wait to see all these pictures and videos of all the events. But yeah,
we should go live from Cannes.
Ooh, let's do that. Done.
Why not? Beach. Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Perfect. All right. So thank you everybody for joining and spending an hour with the three of us. And see you next episode.
See you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.